To the men, living and dead, who did these things, we dedicate this program,
The Dambusters.
Presented by the author himself, Paul Brickhill, dramatized by Morris West, an Australasian radio production.
Good evening. This is Paul Brickhill speaking. When Fauquier received the news that Wallis's 10-tonner, the Grand Slam, had been successfully tested and was at last ready for use, 617 Squadron went wild with excitement. They'd had phenomenal success with Wallis's Dambuster and the Tall Boy. Now they were to try out his third and greatest bomb. 617 would drop the biggest bomb that had ever been used in war. They ran to their aircraft, certain that Bielefeld would be smashed this time.
Well, of all that...
What's the trouble, Skipper?
Starboard dinner seized up.
Oh, that puts us out for the day.
Like hell it does. Let me out of here.
What are you going to do, Skipper?
I'm going to ground quarter and take his crate.
Well, you have to look lively to do that, Skipper. He's damn near ready for takeoff.
Hey, Calder! Hold it a minute! Hold it, I say! Hold it!
Skipper, too bad, but it was a good try, wasn't it?
Oh, go jump in the river.
Captain to crew, Bremen coming up to port. I'm going to skirt the flag. Navigator, just check my course. Watch out for fighters, gunners. I don't expect too much trouble, but you never know. Dead on track, Skipper. We should be over target in exactly 10 minutes. Thanks, Navigator. Beautiful weather. Clear as a bell. No excuses this time, Bomb Aimer. Just leave it to Uncle, Skipper. Bomb Aimer to Captain. Just work it out, Skipper. It's 35 seconds from release to impact. Time enough to peel off and see what happens. Add 11 seconds to that. There's a 10-second fuse. Well, I see it. No mess, no nothing, just target. Heading in now, Bomb Aimer. Waiting on you, Skipper. We're leveling out now. Left a bit. Right a bit. Left a fraction. Steady. Steady. Bomb gone! Let's hope the ruddy thing goes off. First time we've ever dropped one. Don't talk, watch the blasted thing. She's hit, Skipper. Pretty close, I think. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. There she goes, lots of mud and smoke. Have to wait till it clears. We'll wait, all right. It's gone, Skipper! The damn thing's gone! 1, 2, 3, 6, no, 7 archers! That'll be all, thank you, gentlemen. Here we go.
You see, my dear Cochrane, this crater here, it's quite exquisitely accurate. Could be almost a mathematical demonstration.
Yes, I must confess, my dear Wallis, that I'm more interested in the ruins lying around it.
That's because you're not attending, my dear chap. Don't you see, Cochrane, this single photograph is a perfect summary of my theories.
I was only pulling your leg, Wallis. I'm vitally interested.
Well, you see, this is exactly what happened. It wasn't a direct hit, as you see, but a near miss, about 30 feet away from the target. Now, the bomb has penetrated about 100 feet. The first shock wave has shaken the arches to cracking point. Then the underground explosion has produced a near camouflet. It's blasted a huge subterranean cavity in the mud. That robs the bridge of its foundations, and the whole thing just collapses, as you see.
Yes, you talked about it that way right in the beginning, I remember. You called it the hangman's drop.
You know, my dear chap, I didn't think you'd remember that.
This is Cochrane here.
This is Farquhar. I wondered if you had the recce photos yet, sir.
Yes, I'm just looking at them now, as a matter of fact. Wallis is with me. It was a classic operation.
It would have to be, with me on the ground.
Well, better luck next time, Farquhar.
Will there be a next time, sir?
Oh, my dear Farquhar, why not? Who wouldn't play cards if he could deal himself a grand slam every hand?
Your target this time is the Arnbergen Bridge near Bremen. This target is another vital transport link. If you can do the same with this as you did with the Bielefeld Viaduct... This target is another bridge, Nienburg. It's important because all the oil supplies for the European front are being transported across it. It seems, chaps, that there aren't any worthwhile bridges left. We've busted them all. So, tonight we're going back to take another peek at the U-boat bases at Bremen. This time, chaps, is a job that I don't like, and I'm afraid you won't either. It's so damn cold.
Not another Baltic run.
That's right. No. We've had word that Germany's last pocket battleship, the Lutzow, is sheltering in Swinemünde, up here. It's very far in towards the Russian front, so we'll probably get fighters. The AOC has promised us long-range fighters to deal with them.
What's the flak like?
Dirty. There's the whole ship's armament, of course, plus the shore installations. Now then, gather around, boys, and let's take a look at the flight plan.
Isn't that just like the ruddy Navy? We didn't really sink her because her deck's still showing above the water.
Well, perhaps they'd like us to deepen the harbour.
I don't get it. Honestly, I don't. We tear the bottom out of the damn ship. She won't sink completely because the water's too shallow, but the Navy won't claim it as a kill because the decks are still visible. It makes me want to go away and cry somewhere.
I should have heard the skipper when they passed that one on to him. It was the rarest turn I've ever seen him put on. I used to think all Canadians were little gentlemen.
Well, nobody's a gentleman after he's been with the 617.
Oh, wait a minute, laddie. Wait a minute.
Sit down, Farquhar, my dear chap.
Yes, sir.
I've just finished reading the reports on the Lutzow job.
Whose reports, sir? Ours or the Navy's?
Ours, of course.
Did you ever in all your life hear such tommy rot?
You know, I'll tell you something, Farquhar. In the senior echelons of any service, you'll find exactly the same type of, tommy rot. There's no remedy for it. It's an occupational disease, that's all. However, I didn't call you here for that. I wanted to say goodbye to you.
Goodbye, sir? I don't understand.
I'm leaving Bomber Command.
That's quite a blow, sir, to Bomber Command and to our boys. Where are you going?
A new command, Farquhar. Transport. Now that the shooting's almost over, Transport Command is growing rapidly.
I'm very glad for your sake, sir, but I'm sorry to see you go.
Yes, well, I think it won't be long before you're gone, too.
Oh, why, sir?
Well, one of the memos I've handed over to my successor is a request for your immediate grounding.
Any reason, sir?
3 tours is enough for any man. Besides, now that things are coming to an end, I don't like to see the old hands being knocked off.
Do you know something?
What?
I don't either. I guess I'm just getting a little long in the tooth, sir. But I'm in the middle 30s, and I'd like to think that I could still watch a few more crops of apples come to ripening.
Well, you will, Farquhar, you will.
I wonder, sir, if I could ask you a favor.
Certainly, my dear chap. What is it?
Well, sir, when I finish this last tour, or before, if it's possible, I'd like to go to Germany.
Why?
Well, I figure your perspective gets a bit wrong if you keep looking at a country and its people through a bomb sight of 20,000. I'd like to go in and see what's been done by our boys, and see what's been done to the German people, and see what sort of hope there is for the future.
Yes, well, it's not a thing I can arrange myself at this moment. I'll have a talk to the new man. I'll also send a note to Harris, and between us we should be able to arrange something for you.
How do you feel about it, sir? Your own change, I mean.
You know, I doubt I could tell this to anyone else, Farquhar, but in one way I'm very glad. For years now, I've had the responsibility of sending out the cream of our boys on operation after operation, knowing with stone-cold certainty that 25% of them would never come back. Every day I had to weigh up those lives against a broken viaduct or a shattered rocket site, any wrecked target you like to name. Then I've had to convince myself all over again that what I was doing was right. I'm not sorry to be relieved of that. This new command should have a great part to play in the reconstruction of Europe. For the rest, well, I'm a serviceman. I do as I'm told.
I'd like to wish you luck and say thank you, sir.
Thanks to you, too, Farquhar. Who knows, I may see you in Germany.
The war in Europe was almost finished, and so was 617's story. As Germany crumbled, Cochrane found it harder and harder to find suitable targets for his crack squadron and Wallis's great bomb. But Harris found one for him, a most suitable target for the Dambusters' last raid.
Damn sorry to see you go, Cocky. Still, you're not gone yet, are you?
No, Bert, I hand over in a week's time.
Like to plan another job for me?
What is it this time?
Something for 617 and for Wallis.
Why Wallis?
Come in! Here he is now, Cocky. Ask him yourself.
Ask me what?
I was just telling Cocky here that I wanted him to plan one more operation for 617 and for you.
Well, I wouldn't have put it as strongly as that myself. But the fact is, my dear Cocky, we've made such a number of these 10-tonners now that we seem to have run out of targets. It's rather a disappointment.
It seems pretty clear the German military power is completely broken. We've had some reports that the remainder of the army is pulling back into the mountains in southern Bavaria.
The old southern redoubt, Twilight of the God story. I doubt it.
Well, it's quite a possibility, Cochrane. Remembering the German psychology, it's quite on the cards that certain elite formations might retire to Hitler's fortress at what's the place, Berchtesgaden?
Yes, that's right, Berchtesgaden.
What do you think of that for a target, Cocky? Load 617 up with Wallis's 10-tonners, let 'em dump the lot on Hitler's fortress.
Why not, as you say, Bert? If Hitler wants to make heroic gestures, I see no reason why we can't make them too. All right, I'll get on to it. Oh, by the way, Bert, I have a request to make.
What is it, Cocky?
It's about Farquhar. As you know, he is being grounded immediately after I retire. He's asked me if I could get him a job that would take him into Germany to have a look round. Could you fix it, do you think?
Well, be glad to, Cocky. By George, this might be the very thing.
What is it, Bert?
The Navy's been proving very difficult over some of our last operations.
Yes, I know. We had it over the Lutzow.
Yes, I heard that one. Now they're claiming that although we've done a great deal of damage to the U-boat pens, they refuse to believe that Wallis's bombs actually penetrated all that concrete.
What? Well, what do you mean they refuse to believe it? That's utter balderdash. They saw what happened to the rocket site. They must know that nothing else could have done all that damage to the U-boat bases. I'm afraid I'll never understand the mentality of service people.
Where does Farquhar come into this bit?
Well, I thought after he'd finished this job on Berchtesgaden, we could send him up to Hamburg to take a look at the U-boat pens and send us back a report that I could slap on the desks of the Navy people.
All right, Bert, we'll do it in that order. We'll bomb Berchtesgaden, and then we'll send Farquhar to Germany.
Sorry about it, sir, but there was so much cloud about we just couldn't get a sight on the fortress. However, we did identify the SS barracks. We flattened those completely. Still, I would have liked to lay an egg on Hitler's breakfast table.
Well, as it happens, Farquhar, it wouldn't have mattered if you had. We know now that Hitler's in Berlin.
Will he surrender, do you think?
No, I don't think so. We've had so many conflicting reports about his condition that we don't quite know what's going on. However, we're getting all sorts of peace offers through various sources. It shouldn't be long now.
You know, that's when I'd like to be in Germany, the day the armistice is declared.
Well, with a bit of luck, you will be, Farquhar. You'll leave for Hamburg tomorrow.
Can you get me a jeep and an interpreter? I want to go up to Hamburg first thing in the morning.
I'm afraid we don't know very much about what's going on in Hamburg. As far as I know, none of our troops there. Still, if you must go, you must, I suppose. Do you mind if I come with you?
Not at all. Glad of the company. Besides, I'll need a witness.
Witness? Good Lord, whatever for?
To convince the Navy that we really did the job. They don't believe that our 10-tonners did the damage we claim on the U-boat pens. I've got to report back to Harris about it. Your signature on the report will give it a bit of extra weight.
Glad to help, old man. Now, if you'd like to come over to the mess, I can promise you a reasonable dinner and some really good wine. German wine. You know, Farquhar, this is quite extraordinary. There's not a sight nor sound of an Allied soldier in the whole of Hamburg.
I've been noticing that myself. Everybody seems very surprised to see us.
Well, perhaps Hamburg hasn't surrendered yet. A lot of German cities haven't, you know.
That's a pretty thought, isn't it? Who surrenders to whom at this stage of the game?
Do you want to turn back?
I don't see much point in it. At least we might get some information down at the docks.
The place seems to be deserted.
Yes. Good grief, what a mess. Those bombs punched right through the roof. Wrecked those U-boats anyway.
Pity the Navy's not here to see it.
I think the Navy is here.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Yes, what is it?
You are British officers, yes?
That's right. British Air Force.
My captain presents his compliments, sir, and asks if you would be good enough to come and see him.
Certainly.
This way, if you please, sir.
What now?
Not a clue, but whatever it is, let's put a good face on it.
Hey, will you look at this? The whole ruddy Marine Corps lined up.
Gentlemen, I am the officer commanding the Hamburg dock area.
I am the officer commanding 617 Bomber Squadron.
I wish to surrender to you the Hamburg dock area.
I'm prepared to accept your surrender, of course, but I should like to know whether you're acting under the instructions of the authority at Hamburg.
Unfortunately, there is no telephone communication between the dock area and the city. Therefore, I've had to act on my own initiative.
Oh, I see. In that case, we shall accept your surrender. Tell your men to pile all their arms in the jeep and meantime to confine themselves to the dock area.
Very well. Now that this distasteful business is completed, would you perhaps be good enough to take a drink with me? I should like to offer you lunch, but we have little to eat.
A drink will do very well. After that, I should like to inspect the dock area.
I had no idea that it was you personally who led the raids, but I should offer you my congratulations. I was in the pens at the time with a number of my men. Everyone was killed, except myself. The only thing that saved me was the fact that I was in the steel chamber of the overhead crane.
You said all your men were killed. Who are the troops outside?
They were our last reinforcements from the Kriegsmarine. And this, gentlemen, is our mess. In English, it would be a pun, yes? The mess where one eats, the mess you have made of it. You will join me in a drink, gentlemen?
Thank you.
I give you a toast, gentlemen. To the victors.
To the vanquished.
That was kind. Proceed.
Proceed.
Did you not resent all this?
Resent it? Yes. I resented the folly of our leaders who brought us to this farce. I resented the betrayal of Germany by knaves and incompetents. But you, gentlemen, and this, it is war. I do not resent you. Now, if you will permit me, we shall proceed with the formal surrender. Excuse me a moment, I must get pen and paper.
What are you supposed to do in a case like this?
I don't know. I've never taken a surrender before.
He obviously expects some sort of written document to protect himself.
Well, I'd say we'd need some sort of written document to prove it.
He'll obviously expect some guarantee of safety.
Well, the safest thing is to confine them all to the docks area. Tell them to lock the gates and wait until an Allied representative comes along.
Here you are, gentlemen. Now, if you will write the document, I shall sign it.
Let me see now. I, Wing Commander Farquhar, hereby accept the unconditional surrender of the commander of the Hamburg dock area on behalf of Squadron number 617.
And so, on May the 8th, it was all over. And the 150 pilots, navigators, bomb aimers, wireless operators, engineers and gunners realized that they were going to have the same chance as ordinary people of walking down the years to a more natural death.
.617 is still flying. But all that is left of the old days now is the squadron number and the tradition. The men who won over 150 decorations and made the tradition are scattered. Many of them, like Guy Gibson, are dead.
Martin is flying an RAF desk in Whitehall. Cochrane is now an Air Chief Marshal, 3 times knighted, and second in command of the RAF.
Cheshire, daredevil, debonair and mystic, runs a hospital for incurables, which he built out of his own soaring generosity, and financed by the grace of God and the charity of benefactors. In his spare time, he works with Barnes Wallis.
Möhne Dam has been repaired. The lake has been refilled, but the valley below is littered with twisted, rusted girders, and the earth still looks as if a giant's rake has scoured it. Less than a mile away, there stands the new church of Himmelpforten, Gate of Heaven, rebuilt by the villagers after the war. Around the altar is a Latin inscription, restrained and unmalicious. The wreckage of this church, destroyed by flood in 1943, served 6 years later to build this new altar and this new church, which is called Gate of Heaven.
At Weybridge, Wallace is the white-haired patriarch, pink-faced, gentle, and as abstract as ever. The British government granted him £10,000 for his wartime work. He immediately put it into a fund to educate the sons and daughters of men who died serving with the RAF. When somebody asked him why, surprisingly enough, he quoted the Bible, the second book of Samuel, chapter 23. Is not this the blood of the men who went in jeopardy of their lives?
You have been listening to the final episode of The Dambusters, adapted from the book by Paul Brickhill, dramatized by Maurice West. The artists you heard were, as Barnes Wallis, James Mills; Cochrane, David Butler; Gibson, Charles Tingwell; Cheshire, Allan Trevor; Tate, Barry Cookson; Martin, Max Osbiston; Shannon, Rodney Taylor; Harris, Moray Powell; McCarthy, Hop Maguire; Anne, Coralie Neville, together with David Eder, Alexander Archdale, John Newitt, John Mellion, Richard Davies, Joe McCormick, Len Bullen, Don Crosby, Lionel Stevens, and Gordon Chater. Special technical effects were by Ron Wenban. The Dambusters was directed by Gordon Grimsdale. This is an Australasian radio production.